Excuse me. Did you hear those people that were mocking me? You heard them? The two females. You heard them, right? Huh? You don't want to speak? The two females that were mocking.
Hello, everyone. The New York City Police
heard them, right?
Department would like to remind you
That was saying,
backpacks
are you a girl
and
or are
other
you a
large
boy?
containers are subject to
heard
rapid
them?
search by the police. Thanks for
The two
riding.
females that just left. Like, you heard them, right? Huh? Huh? Nobody wants to say. Don't want to say that. Excuse me. Did you hear the two females that were mocking me?
Prospect Avenue.
Oh yeah. Did anybody hear them? Hello. Did anybody hear the two people that were mocking?
I was sleeping.
Excuse me. Did anybody hear the two females that were mocking?
This is a Wakefield bound 2
Nobody
train.
wants to say
The
that.
next stop is Intervale Avenue.
Stand clear of
So the
closing doors,
NYPD
please.
8 Crime Task Force, you have to do something. They're hiring people to jump me. My friend Arugana was killed, and one of them was wearing red, and they were telling me, don't use the bathroom. Do you have nipples or whatever? So they're sexually harassing me. I'm a Nigerian. I was born a male. I'm a woman now. So I'm getting harassed in the bathroom anytime I try to use the bathroom. And I've been contacting Lolita James' office.
Hello, everyone. The
For a
New York
long
City
time.
Police Department would like
I
to
don't-
remind you to keep your belongings
Even when my mother was
inside.
alive,
Stay
the
aware of
police
your
came and took
surroundings.
me and my mother's home
If you
in
see
2010.
something suspicious
And I
at
went
the
and contacted
station
Lolita
or
James.
the
She was the
train,
public
tell a police
advocate.
officer or an
And she didn't help
employee.
me.
Thanks
She
for
was
riding
mainly
with
helping
us.
black Americans like her. With housing issue, if the landlord evicted a black American, she would sue the landlord, because she was working for the city of New York. And the courts told her you can't be suing private landlords as the public advocate. You can only take government officials to court. So they reprimanded her, but she continued doing whatever she liked.
Closing doors,
Suing private landlords. And I said the police took me and my mother's home wrongfully, and she wouldn't help me and my mother. So Arigana said it was going to help me and my mother. The police was going to kill Arigana. Also, my mother's gotten killed because later just wouldn't help us. This is the way my mother was killed. My mother's address were moving with a narcotic gang, address Bolani and Flora in Pennsylvania. So after we sued the NYPD, my mother called the NYPD a terrorist organization. She went on WB11 News around 2010. So they put a mark on us. They were watching. They were following us.
This is
The NYPD. They were sending people to abuse me and my mother.
The elevator is
So they
at
put a hit on us.
platform.
And no lawyer would take our case. Every lawyer would say they don't want our case. We were trying to get a lawyer to help us with the NYPD. So Eric Garner was the only one that volunteered to take the case. It was just somebody that sells cigarettes on the street. So he said he was going to go with me and my mother to court.
This is a
And they
Wakefield
went and killed him
bound
around my
2 train.
birthday in 2014, as soon as I met him.
Freeman Street.
At the same place where I met him.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
And his family said they were trolling him. So some days ago, I posted a message on Instagram early in the morning. On Christmas Day. On Christmas Day, they said Trump bombed Nigeria. I'm a Nigerian Christian. Said he's a president for Nigerian Christian. So I'm a Nigerian. I've been criticizing Trump over his immigration policy. So Trump has been also inciting xenophobia, because I believe he's aware, I have evidence they killed Eric Garner purposefully because Eric Garner was trying to help me. They said even the guy that killed Eric Garner wore a t-shirt saying Diddy while he was killing Eric Garner. And at that time I used to listen to the rap songs by P. Diddy on my YouTube. And I was under immigration surveillance around that time also. Because when my mother brought me here from Nigeria, I was arrested at the airport even though I was a child. They said children are not allowed to come to America with their parents. My mother had a green card, and my case lasted 8 years. So when they arrested my JFK airport, they did my fingerprint and sent it to the FBI. So FBI said whenever you have an immigration case, the FBI will forever surveil you, forever and ever. You know. So even though my case ended soon, like 8 years after the case started,
As you exit,
you know,
be careful of the gap between
and I was able to get my green card, but the FBI was still putting me on surveillance. They say that's what they do. They abuse that surveillance system. Even people like Martin Luther King, they put him on surveillance forever and ever. And even his family alleged the FBI was involved in hiring the assassin that killed them. But his family was only able to get $100 because they got the information late and they sued in North Carolina or one of the Carolinas. You know, and
clear of the closing doors, please.
and I believe they were able to prove the case, and they only got $100 for their efforts because they sued late. You know, so Lelita James refused to help me for a long time now. She only likes to help a fellow Black American. You know, she was the public advocate of New York at that time, around 2014. You know, when around 2014, when I went to her office, she was a public advocate of New York. She wouldn't help me. You know, she was only helping many Black Americans. So Eric Garner said, I shouldn't worry, she's gonna help me. You know, and the police went and killed Eric Garner immediately. Like, who does he think he is? You know, he was just a street person selling cigarettes. And I thought he knows the law, he would follow me to court. And the police went and took him there. You know, so on Christmas Day, I was in Brooklyn around 3 a.m. Like 4 people tried to jump me. Just like I was sitting here on the number 2 train, and 2 females, one of them wearing all red with a partner. They were standing in front of me, and we're managed with this number 2 train, and it was close to Jackson. The stop was close to Jackson, so I believe it was purposefully done. You know, I was actually sleeping, and they were saying, "Oh, yeah, is this person sleeping?" You know, I think they're awake. You know, then I woke up. You know, so they try to jump me. So and I'm being terrorized. You know, and it's very important that they try to jump me by Jackson Avenue. They came on the train. I believe it was close to Jackson Avenue. But the camera on the train, they have a spy camera on the train. It's for recorded exactly where they came on. Because there's this thing also. I'm just going through a lot. I'm getting jumped everywhere. So as soon as my mother brought me from Nigeria, the immigration jumped me at JFK, saying children are not allowed in America. You know, and I was arrested, and my case lasted 8 years. It turned out they mistakenly arrested me. You know, under American law, you can't separate a parent and a child. I was a minor child, and under immigration law, anybody under 21 is considered a child. You know, but I was a male child. I'm now a female. They say this happens to black males in America. It's always a case of wrongful arrest. Like Diallo, they wrongfully arrested him in New York. He was from West Africa, shooting him before the bullet. So every day is always a problem with me. You know, I could just be minding my business, and since I reported so many people for their wrongdoing, from the immigration to the police, so I'm always getting jumped. My friend has been killed at Regana. My mother has been killed. My father has been killed. Nobody helps me investigate nothing. You know, so this is a disgrace. Even I believe this Trump is also joining in, you know, insulting us foreigners as I'm filing court papers, you know, and it's making sure I can't get justice. They even call Nigeria a shithole country. They always attack me in the bathroom. And those females that came on the train, they were saying, you know, you better not use the bathroom. You better not use the, you know, I have diarrhea, so let me show you my diarrhea drugs. So they always jump him in the bathroom. Just last month, I went to use the bathroom on Chambers Street. I got off this number 2 train. You know, I recorded a video whereby I posted a video. So this is my diarrhea drug. So just last month, November 14, 2025, I was on the train. I was reading the newspaper. So I found out Eric Adams, a Black American mayor, is his friend. I think the friend's name is Kat, was arrested by the FBI for raping a woman in the police plaza building. They said his friend is also a police officer. The name of the friend is Kat. So I was when I saw that information in the newspaper, I brought my phone out and I started recording. I was like, this is proof that Eric Adams is so corrupt. I said, I've been reaching out to him to help me, that my friend Eric Garner was killed, and Eric Adams knows Eric Garner. They were childhood friends. They were childhood friends from Brooklyn. So we matched for Eric Garner. So I've been sending videos to Eric Adams that please help me. I know Eric Garner also was helping me when he was killed, but it wouldn't help me, I guess, because I'm an African. So when I was reading the paper that Eric Adams' friend Kat, I believe that's his spelling, I don't remember his full name, was arrested because he raped a woman in one police plaza. They say he raped her to the anus, and left the condom on the floor, and the FBI went and picked up the condom. I said this Eric Adams has been protecting his friend. So when I read on the newspaper, I brought my phone out, I started recording. I'm like, wow. I'm like, this Eric Adams is real corrupt. He doesn't help me either, and all his friends, a lot of them are shady. So I posted the video online. Then I went to use the bathroom. I got off the number 2 train, went to use the bathroom. As I was using the bathroom, they sent an Indian janitor. She always bothers me since I said I support Mandani. Mandani is an Indian born in Uganda. So this Indian woman has been bothering me all year long. Anytime I'm in the bathroom, she's a janitor. She'll come and tell me, you gotta leave the bathroom. You're not a real woman, and we want only real women in the bathroom. So I'm like, excuse me? Why are you insulting me? And she told me, I'm going to call the cops. The cops are coming to arrest you. And so I will leave the bathroom because I don't want no problem. So she came and did it again on last month, November 14, 2025. As I was using the bathroom, she came again. She was like, you gotta leave the bathroom. You're not a real woman. Only real women allowed in the women's bathroom. I said, look, New York law allows, gays to use the bathroom, even though Trump said he doesn't want gays using the bathroom, women's bathroom. I said, Trump's order only applies to federal buildings. I said, New York, America is a federal republic. That means states have their law and the feds have their law. I said, Trump did issue an order this year that doesn't want gays in the women's bathroom. I said, that only applies to airports and federal parastatals. I said, New York City subway is owned by New York State. I said, so the law, New York State law applies and allows me as a gay to use the bathroom. And she was like, I'm going to call the police. So, so I recorded her, so I was like, this woman is just menacing me. She works for the MTA and she's always attacking me as a gay person, So I didn't really pay her no mind. Soon enough, the police came in and decided to drag me out of the bathroom. I was like, what are you guys doing? I said, I'm allowed to use the women's bathroom. They won't tell me what they were doing. And they slammed my head on the wall. I said, stop beating me up for using the bathroom, And I said, no, it's not even for using the bathroom, it's for another thing. I'm like, what other thing? So we can't tell you. I'm like, but and they put me in handcuffs. They were smashing my head against the wall. I said, what is the other thing you're beating me up for? I don't understand the other thing. So we can't really tell you. We're still investigating. Say, just shut up. Just shut up. We're investigating and you're making us nervous. I said, you're slamming me on the wall. You're beating me around. What are you investigating? I said, the janitor came earlier and told me she doesn't want me to use the bathroom because I'm a gay and they don't allow gays in women's bathroom. So just shut up. The police was like, just shut up. Your voice is scaring us. We're investigating. And they were searching my body. At one point, they touched my genitalia. I said, what are you investigating? You're freaking me out. So we can't tell you. Then finally, after they had beaten me up, touched my private parts and everything, they were like, somebody said you stole a cell phone and you were hiding in the bathroom. I said, no. You are all a liar. I said, I posted a video before I came into the bathroom, say Eric Adams, his friend has been arrested for raping a woman in the anus at Police Plaza. And as soon after this, you came and jumped me. I said, either Eric Adams sent you. And they said, we're going to put you in the psych ward. Because you're so, you're acting weird. I said, you came to jump in the bathroom. I said, you're framing me up. I said, no. I said, you're not going to succeed in putting me in the psych ward. Because I said the law was changed about last year that before you can lock somebody up in the psych ward, a nurse has to come to the scene and interview the person. And I said, no nurse in their right
This is
in their right
Helen
mind
Parkway.
would think I belong in the psych ward because I was protesting you coming to pick me up in the bathroom.
This is
So they were like, okay, if we can't lock you up in the psych ward, we'll just go and lock you up in the prison and say we're investigating something and you was bothering us. You know, and they took me to the prison.
This is
You know, I went and locked me up.
The next stop is
You know,
Allerton Avenue.
and this Eric Adams has issued an order
Clear of the closing
that they should be
doors, please.
framing homeless people up as crazy and go and lock them up in the hospital. You know, and I heard all over America they started abusing people. In Oklahoma, they said the mental wards there said the workers are beating up the patients. They said that's the best way you can kill somebody in America, if you lock them up in a mental ward. Said the crazy people in America don't have any rights and you can beat them to death. You know, and you know, so this is what it did to me last month for daring to talk about Eric Adams. So this Eric Adams has been aware that my mother's daughters killed my mother that way. They went and locked my mother up in the mental ward. So my mother's daughters are born in America. My mother was born in Nigeria. So my mother talks with a Nigerian accent. I talk with with a foreign accent also. But her daughters, because they grew up here in America, they speak with an American accent. So my mother's daughters were moving with a narcotic gang. You know, they were affiliated with a narcotic gang. In Pennsylvania, she went to stay with them after the police took her home on Staten Island. Me and my mother's home on Staten Island. Her daughters have their own houses in Pennsylvania. So she said she would observe them that they were moving with a bad gang, Polanyi and Flora. You know, she said, and they were trying to kill her because me and my mother were suing the police, and the daughters feel if they kill my mother, the money from the lawsuit, they can inherit the money. You know. So she said one of the daughters put her in the backseat of the car and sped and went and hit somebody's house. And my mother said she felt that daughter did it on purpose because that daughter has been driving for like over a decade. You know, and all of a sudden, as soon as me and my mother was suing the police in New York, the daughters told her to come and stay with them in Pennsylvania because my mother didn't have a place to stay.
Stand clear of the
You know,
closing doors,
and my mother didn't
please.
want to stay with them because they have a violent history. So she told them to borrow her $500 because the daughters have money. Because in the 1980s, my mother filed a lawsuit because she was living in a house in Brooklyn in the 1970s, and the house was infected with lead. So there was lead poison in the house. So in the 80s, she filed a lawsuit and she won a lot of money. But when my mother went to Nigeria after that in the 1980s, the daughter stole the money, like $100,000, forged my mother's signature, and took the money. Polanyi and Flora took the money from the Arlington Savings Bank, I believe in Manhattan. You know, so when my mother returned from Nigeria, they had already stolen the money. So my mother was asking them to give us some of the money they had stolen because she was trying to rent a place to stay, and the daughters wouldn't give her the money in 1998 and tried to kill my mother. You know, so since 1998, the daughters have been trying to kill my mother. So when my mother came back from Nigeria, she had to flee Pennsylvania, where the daughters were living, and come to New York, and she was staying in a shelter in New York. You know, so my mother said that it was because her daughters were trying to kill her. After stealing $100,000 from her, forging her signature, you know. So by 2014, when the NYPD took me and my mother's home, and Eric Garner was helping us with the court papers, my mother matched for Eric Garner. So, and then my mother said they were bothering her in the shelter because my mother was staying in the shelter near where they killed Eric Garner. So everybody that matched for Eric Garner, the police was bothering them, you know, following them around. So my mother said in the shelter on Staten Island, they started jumping her, and they said the shelter kicked her out because they said they gave my mother a very stupid reason. They said my mother has a high blood pressure and they don't want her in the shelter, that the shelter is only for people that are healthy. So my mother was like, she doesn't know how they even found out she has a high blood pressure. You know, she said they played a game and they kicked her out of the shelter. So my mother called her daughters because she's, you know, they're the only ones that she really knows. You know, I told them to borrow her $500 because they stole $100,000 from her. You know, while she was, my mother went to Nigeria in the 1980s. Before she came back, the daughter stole the $100,000 she had in the bank account. So she asked the daughter, can you please borrow her $500 so she can rent a room? Because my mother used to work as a home aide, and she wanted to go back to working as a home aide. So the daughter told her to come to Pennsylvania and babysit for them. One of the daughter Flora, so they could give her the $500. So my mother went to Pennsylvania and stuff, and they kept her there for over a year. They didn't give her nothing. And she said instead they were abusing. As soon as she got there, that Flora put her in the backseat of the car and went and hit somebody's house. The owner of the house had to call the police and stuff. That some people just crashed into their house. And my mother said she felt that Flora did it on purpose. So she was trying to scare my mother to death, because my mother has a heart disease, and people that have heart disease, if you scare them with a car accident like that, they will panic. They'll be like and die. So my mother was like, she felt in 2014. Said the ambulance was called and everything, and she said she felt that Flora did it on purpose, but she has no proof. And the police came and investigated the crime scene, took the insurance information, but they never arrested that Flora. So my mother said she was living in the house with that Flora also, and Flora's husband tried to punch my mother as a U.S. soldier. He hit my mother with a dirty plunger. He said he messed up the bathroom, and my mother was complaining that, why are you acting so nasty? As my mother said, you rubbed the dirty plunger in her face. And tried to punch my mother. Even though my mother was an elderly woman, the police in Pennsylvania discriminated against my mother, said she was a troublemaker and kicked her out of the house. And my mother was telling the police in Pennsylvania that she's not a troublemaker. Her daughter's lured her to come to Pennsylvania to stay with them, and since then they've been abusing her, trying to kill her. The police didn't believe my mother because my mother talks with a Nigerian accent, and in America there's this discrimination between blacks. If you talk with a foreign accent or if you sound American, the people that sound American, the police will treat them better than you. So it's based on how you speak English also. The discrimination is not just on skin color, it's based on how you speak English. They said even during slavery, the newer African slaves, the slave master would tell the black American slave to beat up the African slave and force them to speak English. So there's always been a language discrimination in America. So as soon as they bring new slaves from Africa, they will tell the black Americans to beat up the Africans and force them to speak English, and give the black Americans a whip, and they'll be whipping the Africans, speak English, So they treated my mother like a slave like that. My mother's Flora's husband was black American, and he speaks American English. My mother doesn't speak American English; she speaks Nigerian English. So he put a dirty plunger on my mother's face, and when the police was called, the police chased my mother out of the house. So you are the troublemaker. You're African woman. Now you can't stay here anymore. So my mother went to stay with her other daughter, Bolanle, and that Bolanle didn't like my mother either. Said no, he doesn't want my mother in the house. So my mother said that one would leave things on the floor, so my mother would trip and fall. Like in the Home Alone movie, when the kid was trying to get rid of the thieves, he left all kinds of slippery stuff on the floor. So my mother said this boy would leave stuff on the floor for my mother to trip on. So my mother would die. Because she was telling my mother she doesn't want her in the house with her either. So my mother thinks like anytime it snows, this Bolanle would leave snow all over the driveway. So when my mother's going out, she'll be tripping on the snow. Then somebody came to visit this Bolanle, and the person tripped on the snow, and they broke their body, and the ambulance had to rush them to the hospital. So my mother said, even though my mother is elderly, my mother had to shovel the snow to prevent more accident. And my mother was like, she doesn't understand why drugs are acting weird and want to kill her so fast. Then my mother said soon after that, this Bolanle was poisoning her food with like cancer-free poison. My mother started having bloody diarrhea. Her heart started racing. So my mother got on the Greyhound bus to come to New York. While on the bus, she started having a heart attack. So she told the bus driver that she's having a heart attack in 2015, May 13, 2015. So the bus driver pulled over in the expressway and called the ambulance. And the ambulance was going to take my mother to the hospital in Pittsburgh. But my mother was afraid. So my mother told the bus driver to keep driving to New York, because she was afraid, if she stays in Pittsburgh to go to the hospital, the daughters may come to the hospital and tell the doctors to lock my mother up in the mental ward.
Stand clear of the closing
So my mother
doors,
was afraid
please.
because the daughters did it to me. When my mother went and I was having an immigration case, so my mother's daughters and my mother used to abuse me and called the police on me. Said I don't like to work, I don't like to go to school, and the police would come and arrest me, take me to the mental ward. And I would explain to the psychiatrist at the St. Vincent Medical Center on Staten Island that I'm not crazy. The reason why I don't work or go to school, even though I was a teenager, is because I have an immigration case and I don't have work papers. So the psychiatrist said, okay, that makes sense. That's why you're not working. So the psychiatrist warned my mother at St. Vincent Medical Center. So next time you call the police on this child and lie that this child is crazy, doesn't want to go to work or school, even though the child doesn't have immigration papers to go to work or school. So the psychiatrist at St. Vincent Medical Center said, we are going to arrest, trying to get the police to arrest my mother for abusing me, you know, because I didn't have papers and I was staying home all day. So my mother would just find a reason to call the police on me. That I was staying home all day, I don't want to go to work or go to school, that I was crazy, you know. And the police would take me to the hospital to check me out. And I would tell the doctor the whole truth, that my mother brought me here from Nigeria. I was arrested at JFK. I was a child and I don't have my papers to go to work or school. And my mother doesn't even have the money to pay for my college. You know, that's why I'm staying home. She was working as a home attendant. So the doctors told my mother not to do that anymore. On Staten Island, like they were going to arrest her for lying on me. So my mother tricked me to come with her to Pennsylvania. As soon as I got to Pennsylvania, one of the daughters, Flora, hit me with a car, and the other daughter, Bolale, called the police that I was crazy, I was attacking them, I don't like to go to work or school. And the police in Pittsburgh arrested me, took me to the Mercy Psychiatric Hospital. And I explained to them that, look, my mother and her daughters have been framing me up. Even when I was in New York, my mother would do that to me. And the doctors in New York told her to stop doing that, that I'm not crazy, I just can't work because I don't have work papers. You know, so they were going to abandon me in the mental ward, you know, and get rid of me that way because my mother didn't want to be taking care of me while I was going to immigration court. You know, so in Pittsburgh also in 2001, my mother told me to come with her to go to Pennsylvania. That we're only going there for a day. When we got there, she left me with the daughters and fled back to New York. And the daughters got me arrested, said I was crazy, I don't like to go to work or school. And at the hospital, I explained to them I have an immigration case. And they spoke with my lawyer in New York, Ralph DiPietro, so the hospital released me again and they apologized that they're so sorry that my family's abusing me like this. But the hospital didn't call the police. This was in 2001. 14 years later, my mother's daughters did it to my mother. As soon as they found out she was sick, she was in the hospital treating her heart disease, in which she said her daughters were the one even giving her the poisoning her food that was giving her bloody diarrhea and triggering her to have the heart attack. The daughters came all the way from Pennsylvania and lied on my mother that she's crazy, she needs mental help. And the doctors removed her from the ICU, disconnected her breathing tube, and said to go and lock up my mother up in the mental ward. And they said this is how my mother died. If you see my mother's face, when she died, you know, you could tell she was in pain. I felt like, you know, when somebody died, they said the last expression on their face will show how they died. If they died a peaceful death, it would be like they're sleeping. If they died a brutal death, it would be like, our face was like, you know. So I told the medical examiner, I said, you have to do an autopsy for my mother. She was alleged her drugs were poisoning her. The medical examiner said, you can't tell us what to do. We're not doing no autopsy. Because our daughter said they don't want an autopsy. You know, so they were discriminating against me at the medical examiner's office, you know. And that's why they kept my mother's body as soon as she was killed in the hospital. You know, and as soon as I got to the hospital, the medical examiner office, some of the security guards that were saying Michael Jackson is here to see the dead mother. You know, so when I was a child, my mother used to tell me I look like Michael Jackson in Nigeria. So I used to send letters to Michael Jackson that, you know, I want to come to America. They should sponsor me. But the United States Postal Service used to return the letter to me, say wrong address. You know, I guess I didn't have the right address then. So they would send me back the cassette I sent to Michael Jackson. I used to record it on a cassette tape and send it to Michael Jackson. So I think some people have found out the cassette tape and they are planning to kill me in America with my mother's daughter's gang. They have access to my home in Nigeria. I left the cassette tape there. You know, my mother has another daughter, Funke. You know, my father's also been killed in Nigeria. So I believe they found the cassette tape. You know, I was sending to Michael Jackson and stuff. So the gang is trying to kill me in America and make a movie out of it. Saying I came to America and lied I came to America to become Michael Jackson and start my music career, but I got killed brutally and then do a movie. You know, and even on July 23rd, 2019, I got jumped and the police arrested me, tried to kill me. You know, so the number 23, and I later found out my mother's daughter's son, Flora's son, his birthday is on the 23rd also. So this NYPD is trying to kill me for fun. They said they enjoy killing blacks for fun. They killed Diallo. It was like shooting overkilled them with 40 bullets. Pow, 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 pow. So, you know, so when they get a chance to kill a black person, they enjoy killing the black person for fun. You know, how do you shoot one person with 40 bullets and claim it's accidental killing? They said with Eric Garner also, they choked him down and they were laughing while they were killing him and told the paramedics not to revive him. So they said this NYPD, whenever they get a chance to kill a black person for fun like that, they don't miss the chance to do it. You know, so my mother's daughter, son, Flora's son, his birthday's on the 23rd. And on July 23rd, 2019, I was begging for money in Brooklyn. All of a sudden, a guy came and slapped me in the back of the head. I didn't know I was getting set up. On Bay Ridge Avenue and 457 was police camera recording. So I told the guy, stop beating me up. Look, and I said, the police camera is recording you. Soon the police came and they knocked me on the ground. And he said I was fighting. I said I wasn't fighting. A guy came and slapped me there, captured the camera, and they went and locked me up in the psychiatric ward. You know, and they were choking me. People had to tell me to stop choking. They wanted to kill me. You know, so my mother's Ayinde Cheney Jr. His birthday is on the 23rd, but his birthday is on the 23rd of December. But the police came and choked me on the 23rd of July. So they said, you know, criminals always communicate in codes. I guess they were leaving that as that proof, so that in case I get killed and the prosecutor wanted to prosecute the case, to let the prosecutor know we killed this person on purpose, is to make money for America, because we're trying to the family was trying to release a movie saying the person looks like Michael Jackson and got killed brutally in America while trying to become Michael Jackson. And you know, so the prosecutor would mess up the case. They said the Eric Garner's case also, the prosecutor messed it up. I was reaching out to the prosecutor's office to let me testify for Eric Garner. They will hang up the phone on me. I was contacting them through the Eric Garner's family lawyer, and they will hang up the phone on me. They didn't let me testify, and they did the Eric Garner's case behind my back, and messed up the case, free the Eric Garner killer. So on December 25, 2025, just a few days ago, I was in Brooklyn again waiting for the R train, you know, at it was a place called 86th Street. You know, all of a sudden this white woman came and pushed my bag on the floor, and a white guy and an Hispanic guy were trying to jump me. They were walking around me in circles. So I was recording everything. I said, this is weird. You know, I don't know why these people are trying to jump me. I didn't do nothing to them. Then an MTA worker came charging towards me, saying I was trying to kill him. He's going to call the cops. I said, are you guys trying to kill me on Christmas Day? It was around 3 a.m. so I was recording everything. You know, I didn't even know Trump was going to bomb Nigeria on Christmas Day and say it's a gift for the Nigerian Christian. I'm a Nigerian Christian and I always react to anything Trump does. So they're trying to drive me crazy. They said that's the best way we can kill a black person in America. Make them snap and have the police kill them. So they were trying to make me snap on Christmas Day as soon as 3 a.m. 4 people tried to jump me for no reason. 4 people. You know, an MTA worker also say I was trying to kill him. I said, okay, if I'm trying to kill you, why are you running towards me? You know, I was running towards you. You know, so you're trying to kill me. Oh my goodness. So this is crazy. You know. So, you know, it's a good thing it's still recording. So I posted a video online on Instagram. So I explained everything that Lolita James is not helping me. You know, and I've been reaching out to her office since 2013 and she wouldn't help me. And Eric Garner decided to help me sue the NYPD and the person when I took Eric Garner dead. So Lolita James has a hand in Eric Garner's death. Because if you fail to help somebody, she was a public advocate and the court was telling her she should be helping people with cases against police. She was helping black Americans with cases against their private landlord. And the court said, no, you can't help people with cases against private landlords. It's only cases against the police. And I took to her a case against the police and she wouldn't help me. So she said she's from Brooklyn and she does whatever she likes. Even Trump tried to get her put in prison, that she was lying, that she's married to her father in Virginia and bought a house and got a cheaper interest rate. And even Trump can't convict her. In Virginia, they say in America, if you're of the middle class and you speak American English, they said the jury will support you. Said in America, the jury, they hate rich guys, people that are super rich like Trump, and they hate poor black people. But if you're just like a Sally next door, middle class like Lolita James, that it's very hard to convict you. So this Lolita James, she's in luck because of her social class and because of her ethnicity, you know. So the even Trump has been trying to get her arrested. They have evidence she married her father to get a discount for housing, and the jury's just throwing out the case, you know. So I believe, you know, so I posted a video on December 25 as soon as I was attacked. I posted on Instagram that my life is in danger. If anything ever happens to me, Lolita James should be arrested because she had a chance to help me for over how many years now? Since 2013. That's like 12 years now. And she didn't help me, and my mother's gotten killed, Eric Garner's gotten killed. So I mentioned her name, I mentioned all the prosecutors in New York, Manhattan prosecutor Irving Bragg, I mentioned Eric Garner, Mayor Eric Garner. So I posted a message on Instagram. As I was posting the message, you know, a black American guy I was using the phone booth on J Street and Lawrence Street, you know, by Macy's in Brooklyn, the place that they used to call Macy's. The Macy's has left. That's in Brooklyn. So there was a police camera recording, and this black American guy came and threatened me, and it was like, you know, don't be a hater, and it was like, keep it nice and sweet. As I was posting the message online, so I believe this Lolita James and some of these government officials are hiring street thugs to drop me and say, you know, I shouldn't post anything about them. You know, so I posted that message. I couldn't post it in full. I sent it to a guy called Red Dice. Red Dice is a black American activist. He's always on the subway recording the police attacking people. So I posted the message in full to Red Dice, and I was posting like part of the message to other people. I was posting part. Don't be smoking, so that's not nice. Anytime I'm getting job, I do start smoking. I guess remind me of Eric Garner. Eric Garner was killed inside a cigarette. You know. So on Christmas I was posting that message. I couldn't post the message in full because I felt like using the bathroom and it was so cold, so I left halfway, you know. But I posted the full message to Red Dice. But the other people I sent the message to them like part message, because the message was a lot of paragraphs, and Instagram has made it difficult for me. Before I could just post the entire message, but now I have to send the message paragraph by paragraph. Instagram only allows me to send like 20 sentences at once. So I posted like I had like 8 paragraphs, so I could only post 1 paragraph to everybody. But I posted like the whole 8 paragraphs to Red Dice. Before I could post it to everybody in full, I felt like using the bathroom. So, you know, I left. You know, since Christmas I have not been able to go back to post the message in full. Then I tried to use the bathroom yesterday. I believe yesterday is December 27 on Saturday, and this black American at 71st Avenue, the last stop on our train, they always bother me in that train station bathroom. They used to send this black American woman that looks like my mother's sister, Tutu. She's very tall like her, and she used to tell me one day we're going to bust the door open and drag her out of the bathroom. So I contacted the Chris prosecutor for many months now that there's this black American woman that follows me to the bathroom and said one day we're going to burst the door open and drag you out. And the Queen's prosecutor didn't help me. And so I started using other bathrooms. Not knowing the police had already put me in mind to drag me out of the bathroom. So as soon as I posted the video last month, November 14, 2025, saying, posting the video online saying Eric Adams, Mayor Eric Adams, the black American mayor of New York, that his friend, Dorothy Cox, I think that's his first name, I don't remember his first name, has been arrested for raping a woman at one police plaza. And I posted a video online. I didn't know they had already planted people to beat me up, you know, anytime they want to, because they know I normally come there to use the bathroom. And an MTA worker, his name is Tramel Thompson. He used to post, you know, very suspicious stuff, you know, because around that neighborhood, I normally go to shop in the Target store. This is the back from Target. And anytime I'm using the bathroom at Target store, I go there around 10 p.m. to use the bathroom at Target store. Because the store closes at 11 p.m. And so the store is always, there's less people in the bathroom around 10 p.m. So I always wait till 10 p.m. to use the bathroom. One day I was using the bathroom at Target store on Murray and West Broadway, which is close to the number 2 train station where they picked me up in the bathroom last month. So I was using the bathroom earlier this month at Murray and Broadway. All of a sudden, as I was using the bathroom, they pressed the fire alarm. It was saying, wah, 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 you know. So I ran out of the bathroom and said, what is happening? They said, you know, we're just testing the fire alarm. And they brought the fire department and everything. I'm like, That's not a test fire alarm. And I think you guys are trying to make it look like I'm doing drugs in the bathroom, and you called 911, the fire ambulance came and everything. I said, no, we didn't. I said, we're just testing it out. I said, while I'm using the bathroom, and you called it. How is that testing it out when you call? No, I don't want that for me. I said, well, how is that testing it out when you're calling the ambulance
Closing doors,
and
please.
everything? You know, so to make it look like I'm just a crazy person, you know, I'm just a crazy person that always smokes in the bathroom. Soon after that, this Sherman Thompson is an MTA worker. It's always teaching on the MTA that the MTA is corrupt, and Jana Liba, the CEO of the MTA, and Governor Oku, they are using this transit to abuse poor customers, and the workers also. So as soon as I posted that video online, this Sherman Thompson posted a fire ambulance sign and said, "Stay out the buildings, stay out the building." So that creepy message, I was like, either he's telling me to stay away from the Target store or to stay away from the Chambers Street bathroom, because I normally take the train to Chambers Street, number 2 train to Chambers Street, to go to Target store. It says stay out the buildings. So I always use the bathroom in the train stations. So, but I didn't have any choice. So on November 14, 2025, I was reading the newspaper, and I still always go use the bathroom in the Chambers Street station, and they will bring gang members to attack me. You know, the last time before I was arrested there, one of the last time I went to use the bathroom there also, this woman, like a Spanish woman, was jumping in the bathroom. I said I smell. Said your doo-doo smell. Was spraying air freshener while I was using the bathroom. I said stop insulting me. I was like, motherfucker, I can insult you anytime I want. I was saying, you know, son of a bitch. I was like, my mother is dead. Can you stop insulting my mother? Say, yeah, your mother probably
Stand
died
clear of
trying
the
to
closing
escape you.
doors, please.
You know, I said, how would you know that? You know, because my mother, when she was alive, she always called the police on me, saying I don't like to work, I don't like to go to school, that I'm crazy, I dress, they will also lie about me. And I will explain to the psychiatrist that, look, I'm not crazy, and it's just that I didn't have a work permission, I didn't have, you know, I was in an immigration court, that's why, and when the psychiatrist now found that my mother's daughters and my mother were lying, they will reprimand them, say, don't do that again, otherwise we'll have you arrested. You know, so now that my mother is dead, I believe the FBI and my mother's daughter, Polani, I see her all the time. She always comes around. She lives in Pennsylvania, but I always see her in New York. For Christmas, I've been seeing her in front of the Chambers Street station where I got beat up last month. On a day synonymous with her birthday, she was born on August 14. The police jumped on November 14. So I believe there must have position police that will just go to find a reason to jump this person on the 14th. You know, so that to send a message to the sister that we kill this person on purpose or on a day synonymous with your birthday. All you gotta do is cooperate and don't cause any trouble after we kill this person. Just claim this person is crazy. You've known this person as a crazy person, and we'll kill this person and give out the money to the sisters. You know, because I was born a boy, I'm not a woman, so I can't really have a child by my own. I'm attracted to guys. So you know, 2 guys can't create a child. So I don't have any child. And I'm not married to anybody. So if I die now, by the law, all my property will be inherited by my family member, my mother's daughters. So I don't want that to happen. I'm unable to write a will because they said to write a will, you have to have 2 witnesses attest. I really don't know anybody in America like that. So, but under the right of sepulchre, whatever I say when I'm alive should apply when I die also. So in case I die or I'm killed, no family member or friend should administer my estate. Only civil rights activists like me should administer my estate, provided those activists have not denied my past, and they should get justice for me and my late mother. And any of my assets or potential assets like lawsuit money should be used to help those people that are suffering xenophobia, especially those that have been deported by Trump. Should be prioritized for assistance. You know, and also please donate to my Cash App, NYC Homeless, or to me personally, so I can rent a room, I can rent an apartment, hotel, and stay away from this subway. Like the MTA worker, Sherman Thompson, says, stay away from the buildings, it's not safe, and put a fire alarm sign. So some black girls came to bust me. I think some of these people, they may be snitches or they may be intimidated. 2 black girls, one was wearing all red and one was wearing all black, and they were taunting me on this train. You know, some hour ago, as they got on the train from Jackson Avenue train station, I guess, you know, and they were saying, you know, you're not a real woman, stay away from the bathroom, you know, and they was talking about, you know, and they were making sexual comments towards me, and they was asking, is my breast real? Is my breast real? Everyone on the train didn't say nothing, and they went to the emergency door. So this train has 5 cameras, number 2 train. So 2 black American women were telling me, is my breast real? So you're not a real woman, don't let us capture the bathroom. And they were stomping their feet on the floor. They were stomping their feet on the floor. You know, so apparently, because sometimes when I'm about to use the bathroom, you know, sometimes I'll be about to have an accident on myself. So sometimes, you know, I will run to the bathroom like this, you know, because I'm always scared to use the bathroom. I always wait for the last minute. So sometimes when I try to use the bathroom, I'll go there late and I'll be stomping my feet on the floor like this, you know, because I'm about to have an accident on myself, you know. So they were doing the same thing, stomping their feet on the floor. I guess in America, when you stomp your feet on the floor in the bathroom, it means it's a sexual sign or something, I don't know. But sometimes I do be stomping my feet in the bathroom, you know, because, you know, I have diarrhea and, you know, I'm always afraid to go into the bathroom. So sometimes I wait till the last moment. So sometimes when I will run towards the bathroom and, you know, and as I'm in the stall, I'll sometimes be stomping my feet because I'm about to have an accident on myself, you know, I'm stomping my